fellas? Good to be back.
Why not?
Why not? What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the pregame lounge. We are presented by Bet365. Never ordinary. Here to get you set for Nuggets, Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
Another big-time matchup at Ball Arena. Can't wait for this one. I am joined by Brendan Vogt.
Well, hold your breath, Harrison. We haven't gotten through the game notes portion, which sometimes on this live show can be must-see TV. You know what I mean?
Should we change game notes to the last section?
Right, just in case.
Just in case there's any late scratches in this one.
Right, and that way it's fair to everyone that way, I think, Harrison.
Also joined by D-Line.
What's up, guys? Found out a little bit about myself that I didn't want to when we were setting up.
Oh, that's
too bad.
Yeah. Good inside joke, outside joke.
We'll talk
there.
about that one offline. Also joined by a man who's repping Christian McCaffrey. Didn't see that one coming. Superstar Dev.
I mean, he's the hometown hero.
Okay.
He's going to the Super Bowl, man. That's big time stuff.
Big time.
Just like this game, this is big time stuff. You get two of the MVP candidates going up against each other. They want to play each other.
That's awesome, man.
Who would have imagined?
What a treat.
Who would have imagined?
I love two guys that want to play against each other. The Bucks are in town. Giannis is in town. The Bucks have been playing well. They have a new coach, Doc Rivers, as well, who we'll talk about too. But what do you got for game
Hold
notes?
on. Have they been playing well? They have a new coach.
They have been playing well. I think they've won 4 or 5.
And they still got a new coach.
They still did.
And that's a great point, Dev. We're going to touch on all these wonderful points, gentlemen. Let's start with availability, everyone's favorite topic. Giannis Antetokounmpo is most likely going to play tonight per Doc Rivers.
So he's out.
I think he should go anti-Embiid. He puts himself on the injury report. He actually knows he feels great, and he's ready to go for 50.
Yeah.
That's MVP campaigning right
He
there.
was on there with an illness, so he got a hint of the Serbian flu, but is going to play through it.
Just a
He's
touch.
going to play through it. This will be his Serbian flu game. Michael Malone was asked about trades. No, not trades. Traits. Are there any traits he'd like to see in the team? It almost caught him up. On the topic of trades, he said he would like to see Kevin Durant traded to the Eastern Conference, but that's neither here nor there.
He's trying to speak it into existence.
Yeah. Traits. Well, he goes, he likes the way the team is playing. They did play well in Philly. They came up short, but then they followed through in Boston. They got that win. Obviously, there have been some duds in there, fellas. Malone acknowledged them, but if you look at it, they isolated this 10-game stretch to close January. We did on this show as well. They took a look at the schedule and thought, well, it's going to be a hell of a stretch here. They've gone 6-2 with 2 games to go. So, for them right now, he said it's about reminding themselves as defending champions, they're going to get everyone's best every night. It's one of those cliches that I'm actually learning is true this year, You got people can't wait for this game, and Malone acknowledged that. And then obviously he was asked about the coaching change. And he said, about Doc Rivers, fellas, he said, I feel bad for Adrian Griffin. That's the first thing I would say. He's a first-year head coach. Every coach knows, Malone said, what you sign up for. This is not a profession you get into if you're looking for job security. Do you guys relate? Do you guys relate to that at all?
Are we allowed to refer to him as a first-year head coach if he didn't make it through a year?
That's a good point. That's a really good point, Eric.
He's a first-quarter head coach?
Listen, as Malone said, Adrian probably understood what he was getting into, but it's still tough to see a guy who's in second or third place in the East be let go so early. On the other hand, Doc Rivers, who's a champion, who's played in the league, he's been around the league for a long time. Everyone knows about Doc Rivers. So he hates to see Adrian not get a chance to coach this team. He did, coaches often, that's their first thought on this, right, is looking at the person who was let go. They don't like to see it happen to anyone. On the other hand, he said it's great to see Doc, and no disrespect to his commentating ability, but it's great to see Doc back on the sideline where he's very, very effective.
A lot of Doc Rivers talk, and we'll get to that in segment 2. I got a couple game notes of my own, though. The Bucks have won 4 or 5, Dev. They've won 4 or 5. They just put 141 points on the Pelicans. They won by 24. So they're playing well right now. They were playing well under their interim coach, Joel Prunty, all-time interim coach. But this is Doc Rivers' debut. Giannis, I think, is playing. Here's another game note that I've got.
Oh, no.
Do you guys know who the officials are tonight?
Oh, no.
I saw.
You did? Did you see, Dev?
No. Could you tell us? Could you inform us?
Uncle Tony Brothers is the crew chief.
Shout out.
Jesus.
And it gets worse.
It doesn't get worse than that.
Musa Dagger
Oh, yes.
back on the Nuggets tonight.
So hold on. Let me just make sure that I understand. We have a coach debut game, which is always a shot in the arm for the team.
Yeah.
Against Tony Brothers and Musa Dagger.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to make the joke I was going to make, but the list that Eric put together is going to come in handy tonight. Don't forget, guys, what you can say at referees when you're upset.
Yes.
Watch your language on the court. Stick to things like dongle, right? And
Right. If I was Michael Malone in my pregame address to the team, I would highlight what you can call a ref tonight.
Yeah,
Shuttlecock, dongle's a good one.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the shot to the arm. Like, they really do get a boost of getting a new head coach. And it's not just any head coach. It's Doc Rivers. Like, he has, like, a history in this league. And
That bunghole.
honestly, he's a winner. You know, if you look at it in the sense of he's coached some of the best players in the league and he's been around. But then you have to go against those referees, against Giannis, who already frustrates you with, like, his physicality and his ability to get to wherever he wants. That is, like, a recipe for disaster. Like, Denver really does have to lock in this one.
If you flash back to the night that Musa Dagger tossed Nikola Jokic in Chicago, we all remember that, Serbian Heritage Night. He did ref the next game after that, and in that game, if memory serves correct, he gave Giannis like 30 free throws in that game. And then got the 1 week shadow ban where he was conspicuously off the ref schedule after that. So we'll see what happens tonight. Let's go to our Circle K Who's Gonna Eat segment for this pregame show.
Not
brought
us,
to
because
you
we have
by
a watch along.
Circle K. We could snack on some Circle K treats during the watch along.
Okay, that's good.
A lot of options there.
Good.
We're actually supposed to.
I was getting hungry and
Chocolate
hangry.
peanuts, gummy bears, peach rings.
I might go for movie theater popcorn.
Ooh, strange things are afoot at the Circle
Right
K.
there on the top shelf. Dev, I'll start with you. Who's eating tonight?
Jokic, the big man's going to eat. I mean, they're going against Brook Lopez, who just is not who he used to be. Teams have really been lighting him up. Jokic is in a spot where he can score every single time down. Also, the Bucks defense, that is not a great defense. I don't care who you put in as coaching that team. They just don't have the defense to be able to lock in. And when you have a player like Brook Lopez, you don't double team. He's going to try to guard him straight up. Jokic eats in those type of situations where he gets a straight up lineup. So I think he eats.
For me, it's going to be Jamal Murray.
Oh, dang it.
Who's guarding Jamal Murray?
Oh, great
The
question.
worst defender in maybe all of the NBA, and a guy that he's gone head-to-head with many times in the past in the one and only Dame Lillard. Murray had a okay game. He started off really strong and then really tailed off last game. But his good game, bad game, good game, bad game, I think this should have been a bad game, but like since he only had half a good game, I think we're going to get at least half a good game out of Jamal Murray. But overall, this is Jamal night. He's going to eat. He's absolutely going to eat tonight.
Okay. Well,
I think Jamal Murray might eat as well because he's going to be guarded by Damian Lillard. You know who he's also going to be guarded by some tonight? Maybe the other worst defender in the NBA? Malik Beasley.
yeah.
Malik Beasley, former Nugget, former teammate of Jamal Murray, same draft class as Jamal Murray. And I feel like if I think back to past matchups against Malik Beasley, both those guys go hard.
Yeah.
Malik goes hard against the Nuggets. Jamal Murray goes hard against him. So I'm expecting Jamal to get up for this one, like I think he got up for that last game against Philly. And if you think back to former Nuggets of this era, you know, the Wanchos, the PJ Doziers of the world, the Monte Morrises, I don't think Malik Beasley falls in the category of Nuggets that this locker room misses that much. I think Jamal's going to go at him.
Oh, that's an interesting way to put it. One way I was thinking about putting it was he was one of those guys who maybe the friendliest way to put it is definitely wanted to play despite all the good players and good guards ahead of him in the rotation. Malik Beasley was always a confident dude who just wanted to be on the floor. And I think, you know, one old friend we'll touch on later, Will Barton, was a guy, remember, he blocked Malik Beasley at the rim when he was still with the Wolves. A lot of emotion and tension there. So I think you guys are right. I'm also curious then, if Malik does guard Jamal Murray, where do they hide Dame? KCP's been a lot more active. He's not just a stationary shooter. He puts the ball on the floor sometimes, cuts a lot, and then obviously Michael Porter Jr. is simply tall. So it's a different matchup in more ways than one, not just Milwaukee's new pick and roll, but also how do they guard Denver now?
Yeah, I agree with all that. I think Jokic could eat as well. It's going to be an interesting matchup. Like Dev said, the Bucks, they have not had a good defense this season. That's part of the reason, at least that's been out there publicly, that they made a coaching change because the defense has been so bad and Adrian Griffin's schemes were so bad. The Bucks are 19th in defense on the season, so this could be a very high-scoring game. Let's get to Doc Rivers. This is his coaching debut tonight. Like you guys said, I do expect a little more juice in the Milwaukee Bucks' legs with this. It is interesting, though, and this has kind of gone under the radar. The Athletic reported on this, and nobody else has. Nobody else has touched this. You guys have seen this, I think, that Doc Rivers was actually consulting Adrian Griffin on the side this entire season.
What?
Have you seen the report about this?
Hang on, what?
Well, it kind of got swept under the radar. The Athletic reported when the Bucks were zeroing in on Doc Rivers that he was serving as an informal consultant to Adrian Griffin all season, and that's a reason why they made the move so quickly to Doc Rivers. Obviously, there was already some type of relationship there. This to me seems like the ultimate going in through the side door with
God.
Doc Rivers. Adrian Griffin seems like he might have left the side door wide open, and Doc Rivers walked right in. But Dev, what do you think about this Doc Rivers hire? Are you a fan of it? Do you think this helps the Bucks out in the long run?
Well, as far as the side door thing, I was once in a relationship, you know, and this was in middle school. This is in middle school, and all middle school relationships has a friend that likes the person. I used to get all these type of things about their friend, and then they're the ones that's trying to get with me the entire time, and this is what this sounds like. Yeah. And in the grand scheme of things, how do you not like what one person's doing, but you go to the person that's telling them how to do everything? That's not going to work out. We've seen this before. Doc Rivers does not have what it takes to win it all. He has all of the talent in the world. He gets another situation. I've never seen somebody this lucky that continues to get all of the best players in the league and then just does not have to actually win.
I know.
Every year. But, I mean, when you talk about motivation and just being able to get to guys, Doc Rivers does that. He knows how to win with the best talent, which I think I can do. But, I mean, I think that it's going to be just attention elsewhere. I think it's so much attention on, Dame Lillard and bringing him in and trying to incorporate him and how bad Giannis's brother is and all this other stuff that you now take away that attention there and you could just place it on Doc Rivers. If it doesn't work out, it's just another side project that didn't work for Doc Rivers. They'll win games. They were always going to win games.
Yeah.
They're not going to win it all.
This is the most confusing. I don't understand anything about what's going on in Milwaukee this season. I really just can't wrap my head around the fact that this guy, Adrian Griffin, was so bad that they had to get rid of him, but they were the second best team in the East.
Yeah.
With a lot of with better than Philly, who's been really good. I don't follow Milwaukee. I don't know what it's looked like day to day. This whole thing is so perplexing. It is so strange, though, the idea that the guy that was informing the guy that you fired, you hired that guy that. What are you talking? What? He just wasn't
wild, man.
I don't understand.
The only logical explanation is that they were good, but the entire roster just hated Adrian Griffin.
That has to be.
That's the only logical explanation for this move.
Or at the very least, he lost Giannis, right? Because Giannis handpicked him.
Yeah.
And
there's all some clips coming out about Brooke Lopez getting pissed at him on the court, and that's got to be the only thing here.
But if Giannis says no, this is my guy, he's probably still the coach with that record, right?
Absolutely. He was Giannis's guy 4 months ago.
Right. Right, exactly. That changed very quickly, and not the first person to make this point, but it was my first thought when I saw the changing of the guard. You know,
Yeah.
Terry Stotts quickly joining and quickly leaving that staff was definitely a red flag, and particularly because it was about his relationship with Adrian Griffin. Excuse me. So I'm not super surprised, but it is funny. You know, what you're getting at, D-Line, is to Malone's point. You know. Which is, if you're a coach and that's the record, at some point you go, you can just fire me. Like, you don't have to find like a good cause, you know? I thought we were doing pretty well over here. So it's a tough spot for Griffin, but it's not surprising to me. On the Doc Rivers side of things, it's really hard to win with a coaching change midseason. As far as a guy who just has coach star talent before, base level players will probably listen to him. Guys who are available on the market, he was the obvious choice in my opinion, which is a different statement than it's going to work out.
He's really had a hell of a run, to what Dev was saying earlier. I mean, he's coached some great teams. He gets Philly with Joel Embiid and James Harden. Then, you know, he just walks into the ESPN announcing booth. Now he's got the Bucks and Giannis. Who's he going to get next? Like the Suns?
Well, I'm glad you asked, because probably
Doesn't it just seem like
he'll probably
that's
get a Suns or Lakers job.
naturally what's going to happen here?
Well, once he starts consulting people in Phoenix, I think then we know he's in line.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens with Doc Rivers. Let's move on here, because I don't know if you guys were on social media today, but a former Nugget has signed with a new team. A former Nugget
Is it Facu?
has signed with a new team. No, he just won like Player of the Year in Europe. That's it.
He's
Is it
cooking.
PJ Dozier?
No, he's just playing for Partizan in Belgrade.
Also
Not him.
cooking?
Is it JJ Hickson?
Oh, and is he out of
I
prison?
don't know what he's up to.
Oh, well, that's the only ones that matter.
Ty Lawson?
He might still be playing in China. I don't know.
No way he's in China
No,
anymore.
he
He ruined
got,
his China experience.
he got kicked out on the high.
He don't like Chinese women.
No, he does like Chinese women. That was the problem.
It's Will Barton.
Let's
Will
go.
Barton, who has been out of work, a free agent this entire season, has signed with Moscow. He's playing in Russia. And shouts to Will Barton. So I thought it'd be good to look back at the Nuggets team from 3 years ago. You know, the team that beat the Portland Trailblazers in the playoffs?
I remember.
That team?
Right. Yeah.
That was just 3 years ago.
Where are they now?
I want to look back and see, where are all those guys now, now that Will Barton, a central figure on that team, is elsewhere. Kale, can you bring up that graphic, please? Because a lot of those guys are out of the NBA now. This was the Nuggets playoff rotation from that year. Let me remind you, Nikola Jokic won a playoff series with this rotation. Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., still on the Denver Nuggets. Austin Rivers, who is averaging the fourth most minutes in the playoffs on that team. He's an ESPN analyst right now.
What?
Monte Morris still in the NBA.
Okay.
Kind of. He
He's-
just came back.
He's saving the Pistons, dude. They're 2-1 with Monte.
Ninth man on the Detroit Pistons. Will Barton, just signed in Russia. Facu playing great in Spain for Real Madrid.
Oh, he went back to Real Madrid.
Yeah, his old stomping ground. JaMychal Green, I think, probably retired.
The question mark is killing me on that one.
Not
That's a good-
officially
that's a
retired.
great question, though.
But without a team, Marcus Howard, he's playing in Spain as well.
Oh, good for him.
Where's he playing? Stankonia?
Might as well be. Vasconia. And Paul Millsap retired.
Shout out Paul Millsap.
This team won a playoff series against Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, and Yusuf Nurkic in the Portland Trail.
This was like a decade ago or something?
This was 3 years ago, Dev.
Not only did they win, fellas, this was the first time a Jokic-led Nuggets team won a series in less than 7 games.
We got slandered for this team so heavily.
Yeah.
And look at just only 3 years. They're pretty much removed. Most of them are removed from the NBA or playing that level of basketball. That is unheard of. If you go around the league of the other teams that were still in the playoffs at the time, most of their guys are still around and still playing because they're in the peak of their NBA careers. They're still playing. So for Denver to win a series with that squad, it just goes on to tell you things. You know, it says a lot. I mean, and good for Will Barton that he's going to go and be able to still continue to play. Like, we haven't heard that name in such a long time, and he has so many memories. He means so much to the evolution of this Denver Nuggets team and them getting to this point of being the NBA champions. So, like, you have to hat tip, Will Barton.
Also, this was, I believe, pre-MVP Nikola Jokic, too.
Was this the first MVP year?
I believe this was...
Yeah, it had to be.
His
Because that's
first-
when he was forced to score every single time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I think you're right. This was first MVP year, but he still, had another level to go up from that first MVP year.
Agreed. Yeah, he got even better from this.
So this was not even a fully formed Nikola Jokic.
Yeah, this is when Nick Wright declared loudly into a microphone that he would be the worst MVP we'd ever see.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I should have known.
I mean, to that point, tonight there's a clash of two, not just of the best players in the NBA, but best floor raisers we've ever seen.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they're in that category, both of at the bare minimum. If they're on their your roster and they're healthy, you're in the running for 50+ games. You're probably going to be in the playoffs, and if you got Jokic, you might even beat Portland. So that's kind of the thing to me that Jokic, Giannis, and obviously peak LeBron, and that was a long peak. They had more than anyone else. Was just if they're on your team, you've got a shot.
Absolutely. All right, let's get out our phones, fire up the Bet365 app. We are doing a watch-along tonight, so the fellas will all be right here during the game, so you can queue up your TV, put that on mute, queue up the watch-along stream, which is right on the DNVR YouTube channel. You can find it, and watch the game with us, and we'll be tracking bets and winning money.
History tells us is a horrible omen.
Recently, yes. We, of course, our last watch-along was the Knicks game, so that was great. But, Dev, what do you got for bets tonight?
All right, this is a fun one because you get to follow your bets with us as we, knock them down live. This is where you say a bet, you have to back it up, because we get to talk about it the entire time. And
oh, boy.
I love that type of pressure. I'm that type of person.
Dev's built like that.
I'm built like that. Denver comes into this one as 5-point favorites.
Oh, boy.
The Bucks, really, they do get a boost. They have a new coach.
A new coach game is such a real thing.
And it's on both sides. You want to prove to him that you're going to play hard, that you're willing to go out there and give him your all.
That's
You have
the point.
first impressions on people. He's been in the league a long time. He know who you are, but you still have to go and show him that. So I do think that guys are going to play hard for him. He also has to try to win you over. So maybe he's giving you extra minutes. Maybe he's giving you a little bit of extra. I'm personally not going to go with a line, but I do like Denver -5. They really do have to bounce back in this spot, and this is a spot where you can score whenever you want to. The Bucks, they're not a good defensive team. They're really good offensively, though. So, this is a pace-up spot. While this is a pace-up spot, I'm going to go over 238.
Yeah, that seems like a lock.
That seems like Denver needs a pace-up spot. This is how you get your players right. This is how you get, the statistics and numbers there. And Denver has a lot of guys that need to get themselves going, and this is a spot that you can do that, especially if you're able to get a win against a team that you could possibly see in the finals. This is still a contending team. So this is a good spot for both teams, to just try to find some type of rhythm. So I like the over 238.
You want to know something funny with Doc Rivers? Sorry to go back to him real quick. I believe he's going to be coaching the All-Star team from the Eastern Conference. Because you can't. I know this probably falls under the category of things you just don't get about this hire. But the rule is you can't coach the All-Star game as a coach 2 years in a row. And Missoula did last year with the Celtics. Well, the team that's in second place is the Milwaukee Bucks right now. So I think Doc Rivers, as of right now, is coaching the All-Star game. That's going to be the 10th game he coaches.
Dude, this guy's so good at failing up.
Man, he does. He gets, and he got a lot of years and a lot of money on this one. That dude's a winner.
$40 million.
That's crazy. For the Bucks side of things, let's go ahead and lock in Giannis over 41.5 points plus rebounds. I just think it's a given.
Okay.
He scores well, does whatever he wants. Denver has nobody with that type of aggression. And it's tough to ask AG to try to slow down Giannis. He's just not as big as him, not as strong as him, not as athletic. And you don't see much of that. He's one of the few players in the league that you just can't ask for that. So you could pencil him in for 30 points and 10 rebounds, 11 rebounds. Yeah, it's going to happen.
I think so, too.
I'd also take the over on Brook Lopez points plus rebounds. Only 18.5 for plus money. He doesn't typically rebound, but he has these random spots that he gets double-doubles when he's motivated. I think he's always motivated by the Yoke matchup. He just kind of plays him well. So I'll go over on that. Also, it's a lot of one-on-one. So I think that Jokic will eat on that side, but if there is any misses, Brook Lopez will finally be able to get his rebounds. I think he gets to them points pretty easy. He can knock down the three ball. For Denver, Jamal will get up for the challenge of Dame. That's just something that he does every single time. And also, Jamal's really good in cone drills, and I think that that's what Dame is defensively. Just
Do you think
drill.
at shoot around this morning, Michael Malone just put out a bunch of
NBA
cones?
players are super good at shooting open shots, and I think that that's what you get with Dame Lillard.
So running jingle jangles.
I mean, he had a hot start last game before he fizzled out, and then I looked at the weather today. I looked at the forecast, and there's some Jamal flurries.
Oh, you checked the barometric pressure?
Yeah, it said it starts at around 7.
They're called Murray Flurry, Devs.
Murray Flurry.
It's a rhyme.
Around 7. All right, so let's go with a Peyton Watson bet.
Ooh.
His line is too low at 6.5 points. I like the over there as a spot. That second unit has some not so great defenders. He also is just playing well. He's earning extra minutes. I think that they're going to reward him. If you get a pace-up spot for the starters, you're going to get a pace-up spot for the bench unit as well. So I like for him to be aggressive and get going there. So 6.5 is just low.
So I spoke with P-Watt after the 76ers game, wrote a little article from that chat on thednvr.com. You can check that out. Did you know he's taken 27 jump shots from mid-range all season, and 13 of them, pretty much half, have come since January 1st.
Huh.
He's shooting the mid-ranger way more now, and he told me that part of it is because coming into the rotation, he first wanted to lock down defensively, show everybody that he can be relied upon defensively, and now he's dipping into his offensive bag a little bit. So I like that, Dev. I like that over.
Nice. I also like over 6 rebounds from Michael Porter Jr. He's not getting himself going offensively. His shot is not falling. So what do you have to do? You have to get back to the little things. You have to get back to things that's just going to keep you out on the floor. And he's been rebounding pretty well with, the other things not working out for him. I think he continues there. Crash the board. Take advantage of having the size and motor. And with as much attention as Giannis is going to get trying to put bodies on him, that's Michael Porter Jr. rebounds. Let's go with Jokic over 1.5 steals plus blocks. Just writes itself.
Yep.
Jokic over 12 rebounds is at plus money, and I think this is an easy one. He's going against a big man that does not rebound.
Yep.
It does worry me just a little bit that he is going to be on the three-point line just because Brook Lopez shoots and he tries to keep you away from the basket. But I think that he still gobbles up a few rebounds. Now for the lock.
Ooh.
The lock is Jokic, points plus rebounds at
Really?
39.5. Brook Lopez is just not the defender that he used to be. And bigs have just been lighting him up all year. Now he's up against Jokic, who's been on the offensive tear and just motivated and grabbing boards. Especially when he is motivated. That's when he really can get going. And I think Brook Lopez also brings that on to him just because he has been a good, tough defender in the past. Bucks will let Jokic get ISO. That's easy points. So I really, really like the points. I like the points. That's where he's going to get it. So maybe lock that in as well, the points.
Yeah, the points. I can't imagine in Doc Rivers' debut the Bucks are going to be running the most complex defensive schemes. So I'm anticipating a lot of one-on-one coverage from the Bucks tonight, and that means Nikola Jokic should eat.
Yeah. I want Murray threes. I'm taking Murray threes.
Murray
Do you guys want to eat before we go live?
Yeah, we should.
Who's going to eat tonight?
Head on over to the watch-along link. We'll be watching the game there, tracking Dev's bets, the official play-along tonight. Nikola Jokic over points rebounds. That's the lock, right, Dev?
That is the lock.
Over points rebounds. So yeah, enjoy the game. Watch it with us on the DNVR watch long. We'll talk to you guys in a couple minutes.
Money.
We all silly like the mayor.